Now on Coast TV News.
The dangerous heat wave continues today with record highs likely near 100 degrees. An extreme heat warning means another code red day. One more day of the extreme heat, then a break with better rain chances. I'll have your forecast details coming up.
Yeah, with that heat wave hitting, the extra level of attention our lifeguards have with eyes on the water and the sand.
Deadly shooting standoff we pieced together at a tense situation that gripped the Angola area on Monday.
Better access on the Broadkill, what Milton officials are considering for kayakers looking to make their way down the river.
This is Coast TV News Today.
It is Tuesday, June 24th, 2025. Good morning, I'm Matt Pensick.
And good morning, I'm Elisa Weber. Thank you for joining us for our 5 o'clock hour.
And here we are with it. It's another first alert weather day. High temperatures bringing with it some high concerns.
Lots of concerns. A lot of people were outside yesterday at the pool. If you're exercising, I'd recommend exercising inside, though.
You and I both did a little exercising.
Oh, yes. I was in the gym yesterday in the air conditioning. That is where you wanted to be for that. Continue to drink plenty of water. We're going to bring in First Alert meteorologist Bob Trahey to tell us more about these temperatures. Good morning, Bob.
Good morning, Elisa and Matt. Yes, another day of scorching heat out there, and it's important to really get your outdoor chores and exercise done very early in the day, probably before 8 a.m., because then in the evening it's just scorching hot. So the morning is the best time. Temperatures 70s to 80 in Georgetown right now, 75 in Delmarva, 82 in Lewis and Rehoboth. So we're starting out just a little warmer than yesterday morning by about a degree or two. And yesterday we just missed hitting 100 in Georgetown. We hit 99, but we could have hit 100 today. Look at these dew point temperatures now in the low to mid 70s. It's very muggy, and we already have very high heat indices. Feels like 89 in Rehoboth, 86 in Bethany Beach, 84 in Georgetown. So it's going to be a scorcher. Extreme heat warning, interior Sussex County, Georgetown, Laurel, Delmarva, but along the Media Coast from Lewis down to Ocean View and then down to Ocean City, it's a heat advisory. Your heat indices not as extreme. This goes until Wednesday evening, and then Salisbury, Pittsville, Berlin, you're under an extreme heat warning, and right along the coast, a heat advisory. And then for the Eastern Shore, we have an extreme heat warning as well, and that goes through Wednesday evening. And you can see these extreme heat warnings all the way from Boston to Delmarva and down into the Mid-Atlantic region. We have the clear skies, and once again, we are looking at sunshine, not much shade today, as we have that dome of hot high pressure back to our west, and that's going to continue the heat wave today as temperatures quickly soar through the 80s by noon into the mid-90s, and then some interior areas, I think maybe around 100, maybe around Seaford into Salisbury, but we're looking at upper 90s inland areas and 80s and 90s at the coast, with the sweltering heat continuing this afternoon and this evening, and at times feels like temperatures 111 to 113. So once again, dangerous heat. Stay inside if you can, and the wind's not going to really give us any relief. One more day of the extreme heat tomorrow, then we do get a break with increasing rain chances. Much more on that coming up a little bit later in the newscast.
All right, thank you, Bob. And we're taking a live look now at Dover, where temperatures are already in the upper 70s, as Bob showed us there. Like almost everywhere on the peninsula, bracing for a day in the upper 90s. High temperatures is our top story this hour. Delmarva dealing with its first heat wave of the summer season. Lifeguards in Rehoboth Beach keeping an eye out for people displaying signs of heat exhaustion or heat stroke. But the lifeguards also have to stay cool in this heat, and one tells us they take care of themselves by staying away from sugary drinks like soda and Gatorade.
Nutrition as well. Getting in the water, doing the water workouts is really a saving grace when it comes to these long, hotter days.
You can stay updated on all weather-related events with our Coast TV First Alert weather app.
The Delaware Department of Health and Social Services is offering cool stations to anyone in need. The agency says the facilities will be open today from 8:30 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. both today and tomorrow. This is in Sussex County, and people can head to Adams State Service Center in Georgetown, Bridgeville State Service Center, Laurel State Service Center, and Milford State Service Center. And this is now going to bring us to our Coast TV poll. We want to know, what's your go-to way to beat the heat?
All right, let's take a look at the updated results. Most of you are saying air conditioning, stay indoors. That's a good tip, Elise.
That is a good tip. And
then we just have a single percentage voting for beach breeze, shade breaks, cold drinks. You can combine cold drinks and AC indoors. Maybe we can get a combo on that one. If you haven't voted yet, you can still do so at coasttv.com or on the mobile app. Developing news as investigators continue work after the Monday standoff in Angola. Delaware State Police say it's a situation that began late Sunday night into the early hours of Monday morning. It's when they responded to a welfare check on 49-year-old Jason Arnold in Dagsboro. Troopers say they learned that Arnold was in a black Honda Pilot, and when confronted, Arnold and state police traded gunfire before Arnold ran into his family house on Blackwood Drive in Angola.
And here's the area we are talking about. According to troopers, this is where suspect Jason Arnold was found. And Delaware State Police say Arnold barricaded himself in that home on Blackwood Drive over the following hours. Members of DSP's Special Operations Response Team and Crisis Management Team attempted to negotiate with Arnold for a surrender. Eventually, authorities did enter the home and say they found Arnold dead from shooting himself. This whole saga ended around noon on Monday. One neighbor CoastTV spoke with says this is the last thing they would expect in this area.
Definitely different. A little scary with the kids. Went out back, just really close to home. So a little worrisome, especially when you kind of sleep through it.
And to be clear, no officers were injured. One neighbor, a 69-year-old woman, was injured but has since been released with minor injuries.
And happening today, Ocean View Police are taking big steps to protect students by hosting specialized training for active shooter attacks. This is taking place at Lord Baltimore Elementary. Officers say school shootings are increasing across the country. This course runs until June 26th.
Happening today, over 10 bills are scheduled for review in Delaware's House of Representatives. 0 is the number of days District 20 Representative Estelle Parker Selby has attended Legislative Hall this year. She has missed every single House vote in 2025, and there are only 4 legislative days remaining in this year's part of the 153rd session. Estelle Parker Selby's absence has been attributed to a massive stroke this winter. Session started back in January. She was sworn in at home in March, and that time the Speaker of the House told CoastTV she hoped Estelle Parker would be back soon.
Sussex County Commissioners are looking at a conditional use ordinance for a field office at the Nature Conservancy in Milton. It's a property that's nearly 4 acres on the north side of Round Pole Bridge Road. Property was donated to the Conservancy in 1999. When complete, 2 staff members will work in the office. A public hearing for the request takes place at today's council meeting at 1:30 p.m.
Happening tonight in Milton, discussion to improve outdoor recreation. According to the agenda, the Parks and Recreation Committee will discuss a park master plan and a new kayak launch. People currently use the boat ramp for getting kayaks in and out of the water. The committee says it can be more difficult this way. Tonight's meeting is happening at 6 o'clock at the Chamber of Commerce.
Here this morning, St. Martha's Episcopal Church in Bethany Beach is welcoming J1 international students to its 18th annual picnic. According to the church, this year the event honors organizer Bill Gay, who helped put the event together for many years. The free picnic is set to offer a full American-style dinner donated by over 30 local employers, desserts, games, and even bicycle repairs. It's all happening today at 5:30 p.m.
Tonight in Seaford, dealing with delinquent electric bills and speeding in Seaford. At the council meeting, officials are expected to present an ordinance they say would change electric notification and service termination rules. The city's chief of police is set to make recommendations to combat speeding on East Ivy Drive. All this is taking place tonight at 7 o'clock.
Now taking a live look at Washington, D.C., President Trump is actually leaving the capital, heading to the Netherlands today for the NATO summit. This after Iran and Israel have agreed to a ceasefire. However, the details of this are still not clear.
As Amy Kiley shows us, organizers expect Iran to come up during talks otherwise focused on Europe.
The news about Iran is at this moment grabbing all the headlines.
President Donald Trump heads to the NATO summit today as lawmakers back in the U.S. receive briefings on Iran. Trump says it started a ceasefire with Israel overnight, though the details of it weren't immediately clear. Meanwhile, Qatar says it intercepted Iran's missile attack on a U.S. base yesterday, and that follows U.S. strikes on Iranian nuclear facilities over the weekend.
You cannot bomb away Iran's nuclear program into zero. There's knowledge. So we need negotiations that are serious. There are steps ahead.
NATO Secretary General acknowledges Iran is likely to come up during the summit. He says its actions affect Europe.
Iran is heavily involved in the fight of Russia against Ukraine by, for example, their drones deliveries, which are killing innocent Ukrainians without any respect for life.
Analysts say defense spending is likely to be the key focus of the summit. U.S. support for Ukraine is cooling under Trump. He also wants NATO members to contribute 5% of their gross domestic products to defense. Some are still short of the current goal of 2%.
I think they're very worried about potential future U.S. force posture cuts in Europe. And frankly, also the fact of the matter that there is an unraveling transatlantic consensus on both Ukraine and Russia.
I'm Amy Kiley reporting.
And we're just getting started in this hour of Coast TV News Today.
Yeah, coming up, protecting your pets. We'll tell you how you can keep your furry friends cool during the extreme heat.
Also, Georgetown Safety Solutions will tell you how officials say the town has suffered without safe biking roadways.
And American money dreams, how much people say they need to make to feel financially comfortable. All that and more as Coast TV News Today continues.
5:13 on this Tuesday morning as we're gearing up for another scorcher. 81 already in Dover. We've got 70s and low 80s all across the border right now, and very muggy conditions with these dew points into the 70s, already feeling like mid to even upper 80s in some places. We're headed for the triple digits later on as we're looking at clear skies. That'll be the case all day as we have this heat dome basically across the eastern third of the country. So we're not alone. Everybody is baking in this intense heat. Here's your mowing forecast. Really take it easy out there. Now the conditions are good as far as not rain today and tomorrow, but once again, extreme heat. Make sure you have plenty of water. And then fair conditions Thursday and Friday as we cool down a little bit with increasing showers and storms.
Happening now in Salisbury, overnight closures are in effect. Crews are working on Snow Hill Road to extend water and sewer lines for future housing developments. The city says the road will be closed between Robbins Avenue and Toadvine Road. This continues every night from 9 p.m. to 5 a.m. through Friday. Officials say there are detours in place.
Also in Salisbury, a road closure and a temporary water shutoff are underway. It's part of a utility repair project. City officials say East North Point Drive is closed today as crews replace a 12-inch water valve. Work is happening in two phases, one running through 1 p.m., the second starting at 9 tonight and ending by 3 a.m. Wednesday. According to the city, people living in Addison Court apartments will experience a water shutoff during this time.
According to a new survey from Bankrate, 45% of Americans think they would need to make more than $100,000 a year to feel comfortable. A quarter of Americans say it would take $150,000 or more. But on the flip side, 45% of Americans said they would feel financial freedom making less than six figures. Overall, 32% said they didn't feel like they would ever feel completely financially secure.
Americans choosing the buy now, pay later option, they could see an impact on their credit scores. FICO, the company that developed the most widely used U.S. credit score, has plans for a new credit score model. Factors in BNPL loan data to evaluate credit worthiness, and FICO expects the new model will be ready for release this fall.
Here's a live look at the Spicer Brothers camp in Salisbury, looking over SU right now, 77, as we're gearing up for more dangerous heat today with the code red continuing. In fact, extreme heat will continue not today, only today, but into tomorrow as well, with record-breaking heat likely, with more extreme heat once again into Wednesday. Then we get a break, lower temperatures, increasing rain chances. Your forecast details coming up in 2 minutes. Stay tuned.
Time is 5:18 and we are getting a live look at a hazy looking Dover. Bob, we have another first alert weather day and we could see some record temperatures.
Yeah, you know, Matt, we came close to that century mark in Georgetown yesterday. We hit 99 there, and 100 was the record, so awfully close. And I think we will set new records today and tomorrow. I'm forecasting a high of 99. The record now is 97 back in 2010, so I think we're going to smash that. And then I think we're going to eclipse the record tomorrow, too. I'm going 97 there. The previous record 96 back in 1952. Didn't hit 100 yesterday, so the last 100-degree day remains July 21st of 2019, as it's hazy, hot, and humid, another code red day. And make sure you scan this QR code right there. That will get you to the Coast TV weather app, not just for severe weather, but for tracking the heat as well, as we're near 100 degrees today with record highs, heat indices as high as 110, and very high UV index as well, with oppressive heat continuing into Wednesday, maybe a degree or two cooler, but still into the mid to upper 90s, and the UV index remains high. Extreme heat warning. This was issued yesterday around the noon hour, and this continues through 8 p.m. Wednesday for interior Sussex County. So Angola by the Bay, Georgetown, Delmarva, back through Seaford. But right along the immediate coast, we're looking at a heat advisory until 8 p.m. And that stretches from Lewis to Fenwick Island. You're just slightly cooler. That's also the case just east of Ocean Pines into Ocean City, with Salisbury basically in the extreme heat warning too. And once again, just a tad cooler along the coast with the eastern shore under that extreme heat warning as well through Wednesday evening. And you can see that extreme heat all the way from Boston to New York into D.C. as well. So we're not alone. In fact, the eastern third of the country is just absolutely baking. Temperatures right now into the 70s and low 80s, and dew point temperatures are gross into the mid to upper 70s, just extremely muggy, and already feeling like upper 80s in some places. Not a lot of wind, and we're not going to get relief at all as far as wind goes, or shade in form of clouds, as we're looking at clear skies, and that big dome of high pressure back to our west continues. The heat dome, and once again, all that sinking air all the way from Maine down into the southeast, as we're looking once again at near record-breaking heat as we go through the next few days, as temperatures quickly rising through the 80s this morning by noon or thereabouts, mid to upper 90s, around 99 in Salisbury, 98 in Seaford at 3:30, 97 in Millsboro. Somebody interior Delmarva will hit 100, and the 80s and 90s at the coast, and just sweltering conditions into this evening. And once again, really no breeze to cool us off as we go into Wednesday morning. Another stifling morning, mid to upper 70s, and then once again Wednesday afternoon, mid to upper 90s, maybe a degree cooler, and just slightly cooler at the coast, as we're looking at feels like temperatures 113 in Berlin. So it is going to be scorching hot, maybe slightly cooler with the feels like temperatures Wednesday, but still in the triple digits away from the coast. And I think that's still the case into Thursday, even though we do get increasing showers and storms. And this is like the worst muggy meter I think I've ever seen. Very humid to miserable conditions. That's what makes it dangerous as we go through the rest of the week and into the weekend. But at least we get some showers beginning Thursday with some storms as well. And that will take the edge off the heat wave as that ridge starts to flatten out and we start to see clouds, showers, and slightly cooler temperatures. But wow, 100 in Georgetown possible today, in Seaford and Laurel, and upper 90s and triple digits for the eastern shore. Also upper 90s and triple digits, maybe 101 in Salisbury today. Paul Davis 7-day forecast. That code red continues into Wednesday. 97, but then cooler. 88 Thursday, down to 79 Friday. You're going to need your Parker for that one, with showers and storms. And then upper 80s into the weekend. More showers and storms back into the lower 90s Monday. And Linda Bosco from Milton is our umbrella winner. Congratulations to her from Paul Davis and Coast TV.
All right. Thank you, Bob. In Georgetown, the latest attempt to improve areas for bicyclists and pedestrians. At a town council meeting, Georgetown members of the Rossi Group and DelDOT presented a study focusing on making the town safer for bicyclists and pedestrians. Study focused on crash data and pedestrian trends from North to South Bedford Street and East and West Market Street. Georgetown Mayor Bill West says more safety measures are needed.
We've got a lot of people on bicycles. We have lost, I think, 4 people out on the highway that have been run over by cars. We've got to start looking at more safety products to make it safer for the people of Georgetown.
Study DelDOT and Georgetown are working on started in 2023.
Still ahead, protecting your pets. We'll tell you how to help your furry friends if they begin to show heat-related symptoms. Don't go anywhere.
Happening today, change of plans for one event in Lewis. According to the city, its summer concert series is feeling the effects of the extreme heat, saying the event is moving inside to Cape Henlopen High School. Matt Lefferty and the pros from Dover, that is the act set to perform.
This extreme heat is not only dangerous to humans, but also for our furry friends. At the Humane Animal Partners in Rehoboth Beach, dogs were seen playing in the shaded area and even in a small pool. HAP shared some tips you should keep in mind while taking care of your pet.
Keep the walk short and sweet. When it's hot outside, if you do take them for too long of a walk or they are having a heat stroke, signs of that would be excessive panting, excessive drooling, difficulty breathing, vomiting, diarrhea, pale colored or a different color gums, which would be bright red or blue or purple.
And HAP says if any of this occurs, you need to bring your dog inside and try to cool them down as best as you can. And speaking of this hot weather, it's going to be another hot day at the beach. I know that sand has to be blistering.
Yes.
Oof,
Yes.
But try to get in the air conditioning, drink as much water as you can.
Yeah, Bob, I know the temperatures say it'll be a little cooler along the coast. I don't know if we'll feel that difference if you go there.
Yeah, it's all relative, right? So instead of 100, it's going to be in the low 90s and the heat index maybe a few degrees cooler. Water temperature is pleasant around 70 degrees. Air temperature near 90 in Ocean City today. Lower 90s in Fenwick Island. Extreme UV index. Have that higher SPF sunscreen for sure. Lewis well into the low 90s and similar conditions for Rehoboth with 1 to 2 foot waves. On the bay side, scorching heat in Cambridge into the mid 90s today. Slightly cooler in Crisfield with lower 90s. Interior areas around 100. Another scorching hot day tomorrow. Then we finally break the heat wave. More on that coming up in the next half hour.
After the break on CoastTV News today, Deportation Partnership will tell you about the new Supreme Court ruling that could make deportations easier for the Trump administration.
Also, legislative days dwindling down. Today starts another week in the Delaware General Assembly. Representative Stell Parker-Selby remains a no-show.
And today is another red alert day on Delmarva. We will show you what lifeguards along the coast do to stay cool. CoastTV News today. We'll be right back.
Now on Coast TV News.
Dangerous heat wave continues today with record highs likely near 100. An extreme heat warning continues with another code red day. One more day of the extreme heat, then a break. Better chances of rain as we go into the end of the week. Details coming up.
Sizzling heat story. We hear from those who protect our beaches and those who take care of our health on how to handle these extreme temperatures.
Deadly Delaware situation, the aftermath of the standoff with state police that ends with the death of the suspect.
District 20 denied representation with Delaware's House set to reconvene this afternoon. Approximately 23,000 registered voters continue to not have a voice at Legislative Hall.
This is Coast TV News Today.
June 24th, 2025. Good morning, everybody. I'm Matt Pensick. Good morning, Elisa.
Good morning, Matt. Good morning. I'm Elisa Weber. Thank you for joining us.
It's 5:31. Let's just cut right to it, Elisa. The heat at this hour, it's already on.
It is already on. Have you ever seen those videos in Texas or Florida where someone cracks an egg on the
Yes.
asphalt and cooks it? I think someone should try to do that today on Delmarva.
Okay, for our reporters that are just getting up, getting their day
Yes.
started, there's a story for you out there.
Good stand up, but Bob, I think today you can scramble some eggs outside on the asphalt because it is pretty cold, pretty hot outside.
Yeah, I'll try that. I've also seen the cookie dough on the dashboard. Yeah, I've seen people cook cookies on the dashboard when it gets really hot. So we'll have to see if some people do that today. 70s to 80 in Georgetown now, 80 in Bethany Beach. Rehoboth and Lewis 82, so we're already starting out very warm with dew point temperatures high as 77 in Millsboro. That's telling us that this air is tropical-like and it already feels like upper 80s in Rehoboth. Wow, that's kind of inverted. It's usually the other way around, but it seems like it feels hotter at the beaches. Extreme heat warning for interior Sussex County. This goes until Wednesday evening, and then a heat advisory along the coast from Lewis to Fenwick Island down to Ocean Pines and Golf Club Shores. You're going to be a little cooler. Extreme heat warning back through Salisbury. There's that heat advisory for Worcester County and the Eastern Shore as well. That goes through Wednesday evening, and that is for that dangerous heat, and that extends all the way from New England down into the mid-Atlantic region as we're looking at clear skies, and we're not going to have much in the way of clouds today or anything in the way of wind to really cool us down as we have this area of high pressure back to our west and this heat dome all the way from Maine down into Florida, so everybody's cooking basically basically today. Temperatures rising through the 70s into the 80s, and then already in the low 90s, I think, late morning. And then by noon, 95 Millsboro, 96 Salisbury, and 80s and 90s at the beaches, around 95 in Lewis later on, Millsboro 98, 99 in Salisbury. I think somebody west of 113 will probably hit 100 degrees today as we continue sizzling hot as we go into the evening hours. It feels like temperatures maybe as high as 113 in Berlin. So bottom line is try to stay in air conditioning and drink lots of water. Warm and humid for the morning commute with the green light. Green light this afternoon as far as sky conditions, but very hot. And keep in mind, those temperatures in the car can reach over 130 degrees. So check for pets and never leave your kids in the car in this intense heat.
Yes, thank you so much, Bob. And we are now taking a live look outside this morning, and we already know that those temperatures out there are definitely hot. Probably the cooler parts of the morning. If you can get outside now, it's best to do that. But sunscreen in the sand and water bottles on the boardwalk. Doctors and lifeguards say you need both to stay safe in this heat.
Yes, CoastTV news reporter Zakia Jennings shows us what lifeguards are saying on avoiding heat illnesses.
Keeping an eye on beachgoers from the Rehoboth Beach Patrol Station. That's what Ella Murray, a lifeguard and EMT, does on a daily basis. Murray says properly hydrating is key to staying safe in the summer heat.
I'd say the biggest misconception is people come out here and they're drinking sodas, they're drinking sugary drinks like Gatorade, and they think that that's hydrating them, and it's actually doing the opposite. It's very dehydrating.
Dr. Nick Perchiniak with BB Healthcare shared how you can spot the difference in heat illnesses. With heat exhaustion,
typically you get dizziness, headache, sometimes there can be nausea and vomiting.
And with a heat stroke,
the true medical emergency is patients will often have mental status change. So that could be confusion, could be seizure activity, or unfortunately they can become unresponsive. And heat stroke is a true medical emergency.
Dr. Perchiniak urges people to call 911 if they notice that someone is having a heat stroke or they are unresponsive. Murray says, don't forget your sunscreen.
Just from the very beginning of the day, make sure you're hydrated and have that sunscreen on.
Because summer sun is the reason people love the coast. But no one wants that beach trip to end in the ER.
So we're getting ready for another day in this heat wave. Cooling centers are opening across Delmarva, including one in Wicomico County. Cooling center is at the Wicomico County Civic Center. It's operational through Wednesday evening, and it will reopen today from 1 to 7 p.m. and then again on Wednesday, 3 to 5 p.m. Now an update to a shooting investigation in Sussex County. Police say the situation began late Sunday night into the early hours of Monday morning. And Delaware State Police say they are responding to a welfare check on Jason Arnold in Dagsboro in the 32,000 block of C-Dag Circle. Troopers say they learned that Arnold was in a black Honda Pilot, and when confronted by troopers, Arnold and authorities traded gunfire before Arnold ran into his family's house on Blackwood Drive in Angola.
Delaware State Police say Arnold barricaded himself inside that home in Blackwood Drive over the following hours. Members of DSP's Special Operations Response Team and Crisis Management Team attempted to negotiate with Arnold for a surrender, but eventually authorities did enter that home, and they say they found Arnold dead from shooting himself. This whole saga ended around noon on Monday, and to be clear, no officers were injured. One neighbor, a 69-year-old woman, was injured, but was since been released with minor injuries.
Happening today, Ocean View Police taking big steps to protect students by hosting specialized training for active shooter attacks. Police will host training at Lord Baltimore Elementary. Officers say school shootings are increasing across the country. This course is happening now until June 26.
Happening today, over 10 bills are scheduled for review in Delaware's House of Representatives. 0 is the number of days that District 20 Democratic Representative Stell Parker Selby has attended Legislative Hall this year. She has missed every single House vote in 2025, and there are only 4 legislative days remaining in this year's part of the 153rd session. Stell Parker Selby's absence has been attributed to a massive stroke this winter. The session started back in January, and she was sworn in at home in March, and at that time, the Speaker of the House told CoastTV she hoped Stell Parker would be back soon.
This just in, a big development in two high-profile murder cases. Delaware Governor Matt Meyer, along with Attorney General Kathy Jennings, set to announce indictments on two cases out of Newcastle County. Officials say one of the indictments involves a cold case. State officials will gather today at the Carville Building in Wilmington. That's at 1:30 p.m.
Also happening today, Maryland Governor Wes Moore is in Ocean City with a packed public schedule. According to his office, the governor will first deliver remarks at the Maryland Police Executives Association Top Cop Breakfast. His day also includes speaking at an event hosted by the Maryland Coastal Bays program, and he will end his day at the Maryland Municipal League Summer Conference Block Party.
Now getting a live look at Washington, D.C. The Supreme Court is siding with one part of the Trump administration's efforts of deporting convicted criminals to third countries, which they have no previous connections to. The Department of Homeland Security can now quickly deport detainees they deemed as dangerous and deport them to countries such as South Sudan, which has arrangements with the U.S. government to accept them. The department calls it a victory for the safety of the American people. 3 justices on the court dissented, one writing that the court is rewarding lawlessness by allowing the violation of due process.
Oil prices plunged more than 7% Monday. Prices started tumbling after Iranian missiles launched toward the U.S. base in Qatar were interrupted. The more than 7% drop represents the biggest one-day decline since early April. The steep sell-off wiped out an initial spike Sunday night, driven by concerns Iran could lash out by targeting energy infrastructure in the Middle East.
Still a lot more news to get to. Don't go anywhere.
Coming up next, new trail and now open. We'll give you a look at the area in Wycomico County.
Also, we have a back-and-forth battle at DE Turf, the late goal that decided the match between Indian River and Polytech.
An historical marker for Maryland hero will show you the new marker honoring Harriet Tubman near her birthplace in Dorchester County. Stay with us on Coast TV News Today.
5:42 on this very warm and muggy morning. Dry Tech Cam, the boats will probably be out in force today. 82 degrees already in Ocean City and elsewhere 70s and low 80s. And on top of that, very muggy conditions with dew points well into the 70s. This is tropical-like air already sending feels like temperatures into the upper 80s in some places. We're heading for the triple digits as we head later today. Actual temperature and feels like temperatures as we have this hot dome of air still over the top of us. So we've gone through a lot of these checklist items before, but want to do it again. Stay hydrated with water. That's very important. They say when you're thirsty, you're already dehydrated. Dress for summer. Make sure you have a cold beverage, preferably water. Take frequent breaks. Make sure you have the sunscreen and sunglasses as well. And call the Coast TV First Alert weather phone. It is sponsored by Brockstead Mandalis Federico.
An update to a story we brought to you on Monday. An icon of American and Eastern Shore history, Harriet Tubman was born in Dorchester County sometime around 1822. Now, some 200 years later, we took a look at a new landmark to honor the abolitionist. While it's been known Tubman was born in Dorchester County, Maryland archaeologists have recently located where her childhood home may have been. Relatives say this marker and the new discoveries will give a window into the life Tubman lived before she escaped slavery.
Anytime there is something honoring Harriet Tubman, especially honoring her birthplace and where she came from and correcting those things is very important, because the family has always known where Harriet is actually from, where she was actually born, because we've grown up in those areas ourselves.
And the marker unveiling was attended by plenty of local and state leaders, including Governor Wes Moore and Congressman Andy Harris.
Delmarva Sports Network from the Wawa Studios.
Good morning, sports fans. We head to DE Turf, a back-and-forth battle between two Henlopen squads in boys lacrosse. Indian River and Polytech. We are at DE Turf. We will start things off with Eli Whaley of Polytech dodging everybody and able to get the first goal, making the score 1-0 in the first quarter. Moving on, Jack Spencer of Indian River slings the rock into the net, tying at 1-1 in the first. Spencer dodges Polytech's defense and scores for the Indians, giving Indian River a 2-1 lead in the first quarter. Now into the second, Alex Santiago runs up to the net and slings it in, tying it 3-3. Brennan Luce of Indian River absolute sniper from way outside, giving the lead back to the Indians with a score of 4-3. Now in the third quarter, Gage Costanzo of Polytech doing his thing, giving the lead back to the Panthers with a score of 6-5. Back and forth we go. Spencer jumps up and gets it, giving the lead back to Indian River right at the end of the fourth quarter. Final score 8-7. That over sports. Have a great day, everybody.
And on DSN at 7, the Shorebirds take on the Carolina Mudcats, then catch the final score at 10:30. Over on the DSN Plus app at 5, high school basketball action in Queen Anne's County. At 6, we have high school field hockey at DE Turf and high school basketball, boys basketball at Crown Sports Center. 6:30, Delmarva Pony League Baseball.
If you are having a rough week, you can cheer up with a weekly dose of local good news from Coast TV with personal features, fun things to do each weekend, and more. You can sign up right now for free at coasttv.com and get your weekly dose of joy directly to your inbox on Friday.
The sun is on the rise. It's going to be another sizzler today. Tidal Health Cam 77 in Salisbury, heading for the triple digits. Actual temperature and feels like temperatures as well as the dangerous heat continues. Extreme heat today and tomorrow, prompting another code red. Then we do get some relief beginning Thursday in the form of some clouds and showers and some storms. Your forecast details coming up in 2 minutes. Stay tuned.
Salisbury. Very hot Tuesday morning, Bob. We see that scorching sun is starting to come up there in the distance. Wear your sunglasses today and your sunscreen and try to get in the shade as much as possible.
Yeah, that sun's going to be extra hot today, Elisa. It's going to be another scorcher out there, and I think records are going to fall as we go through the next couple of days. I'm forecasting 99 at Georgetown today. 97, the previous record, I think that's going to be shattered later today. That's from 2010. And then Wednesday, I'm forecasting 97. The record is 96. 1952. I think that one's going to fall too. Now, the last 100-degree day was back in 2019, so it's been a few years, back on July 21st, so we'll get close. We'll have to see if we actually get there. I think today would be the day to hit the century mark. I think interior areas of Delmarva certainly doing that today with record highs. Feels like temperatures as high as 110, and then one more day Wednesday of oppressive heat with temperatures well into the 90s, and really be careful in that sun. That sun angle is so high. Excessive heat warning Caroline, Kent, Sussex, Talbot counties until Wednesday evening. And then right along the immediate coast, you're slightly cooler by about 5 degrees. Heat advisory for the coast through 8 p.m. Salisbury, Pittsville, Newark, Ocean Pines, extreme heat warning for you. And right along the coast in Worcester County, a heat advisory until Wednesday evening. And then that extreme heat warning continues for the eastern shore. We're not alone. Up through Jersey, New York, Boston, D.C., they can see actual temperatures in excess of 100 today. It's just going to be really dangerous heat all up and down the East Coast. Already 80 in Georgetown, 82 in Lewis, 76 in Gumboro, and dew point temperatures. Anytime we're over 70, it's humid, and we're well into the 70s, and that just makes it pretty atrocious, as it feels like 87 in Rehoboth right now, 84 in Georgetown this afternoon, feeling like triple digits. As we're looking at light winds, we're not going to have any relief from the wind today. Lots of sunshine, light winds as that bubble of high pressure, that heat dome continues back to our west. You can see it outlined in the red all the way basically from the Mississippi River to the East Coast. Any kind of storms are going up and over top of this ridge back to our west. And eventually this ridge flattens out as we go into Thursday with a better chance of storms and cooler temperatures. But not today, as we're surging through the 80s by late morning, already lower 90s, mid 90s around noon, and then 98 Millsboro around 3, 98 Delmar, 99 Salisbury. I think somebody interior Delmarva will be in the triple digits today. A little cooler at the coast, and then very hot this evening, and temperatures only slowly falling from the 80s into the 70s by Wednesday morning. And then Wednesday we do it all again, mid 90s by midday, and then mid to upper 90s Wednesday afternoon, maybe a degree or two cooler, and the beach is going to be the place to be, or air conditioning for sure, as feels like temperatures up near 110, some places 1 teens this afternoon, especially across Maryland. Maybe a couple degrees cooler in that. Feels like like temperature tomorrow, but I still think we're feeling like triple digits inland areas on Thursday. And this is the worst muggy meter I've seen. Very humid to miserable conditions right through the weekend. So this is what makes that heat pretty dangerous. But we do get a break Thursday, increasing showers and storms that'll flatten out the ridge, cool us off ever so slightly, with more of those storm chances going into the upcoming weekend. Near 100 in Georgetown, Seaford, and Laurel today, 99 in Easton, 100 in Vienna, and then Salisbury 101, 88 in Ocean City. A little relief along the coast. Paul Davis 7-day forecast. Another code red Wednesday, 97 the high. That's the last really hot day. 88 Thursday with storms, 79, a little cooler on Friday with storms, and then upper 80s, more storms into the weekend, and then back into the lower 90s Monday with a few more storms.
Thank you, Bob. A new self-guided trail is available in Wicomico County. Many brave the heat Monday afternoon to attend the ribbon-cutting ceremony for this trail. The site includes what was once farmland but is now forested. This project is a joint effort between the Maryland Forest Association, the Maryland Department of Natural Resources, and the Nature Conservancy. Those agencies say they are excited to bring a new educational resource to the community.
Working together, it's really allowed us to tap into our local community, local loggers, local mills, while we're working to restore these natural areas. And with this trail, we're just super excited to invite people onto the preserve and to come see a beautiful natural area while learning about active management.
Joe Hinson of the Maryland Forest Association says he hopes the groups can bring trails like this to other parts of Maryland.
The time is now 5:53, and we're going to check in with our coastal pet of the day.
All right, today's coastal pet of the day are two camping companions. On your screen, we have Joy and Pumpkin. They're both rescues. Pumpkin is blind, but that doesn't stop her from loving Yogi, Boo Boo, and Cindy Bear, just like Joy there. We can tell from this picture that Yogi Bear loves them right back, and these two were submitted to us by Mary and Lewis.
And we want to see more of your pets on Delmarva. Send us photos and tell us what makes them so special. You can take a look at your screen.
Top center there, you got that QR code. Scan it. That way you can get your friends to us, and then watch weekdays from 5 to 7 a.m. to see all the pets we feature.
5:56, and we are going to take another look at your forecast before you head out the door.
Bob, it's just too hot out there.
I'm waiting for the "I'm ready for fall" comments. Okay, Matt said never. Okay, we'll see how you feel the next couple of days as we're up near 100 this afternoon. I think interior Delmarva will hit that. It feels like temperatures at least 110, feeling like 110s in parts of Maryland with that code red for the intense heat today. Paul Davis 10-day forecast. 99 today, 97 Wednesday with one more code red day. Then the heat wave breaks. 88 on Thursday. I think we will see some storms there. 79 Friday and more storms into the weekend. But temperatures not as hot. Upper 80s, lower 90s into next week with some more storms. And temperatures a lot cooler than they are right now.
All right, thanks, Bob. And following up on what he was just telling us in our next hour, little relief from that heat. How lifeguards are looking for trouble on the sand and in the surf. That and more when Coast TV News Today continues.